Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Murk back here with some more Draft League content, and today we are finally going to be bringing you my Brawl for All bracket run. I'm just going to do one game at a time to keep these kind of short and sweet. I thought about doing one whole video, but it'd take like over an hour, and I know this would be a little simpler, so for the viewers' pleasure. Anyways, for the round of 64, the first game in bracket play, we are taking on Bronson, coach of the Portland Poliwags, also Dr. Jansko, who we beat in the pool play. So if you haven't heard about that, that was a pretty funny deal. But anyways, Bronson is a pretty competent player. He's a very, very creative player. He comes up with a lot of weird, sometimes really bad sets. We played him in the past. If you remember, when we were in PGL Minors, we 6-0'd him week 1 with Pretty Fire, Silvally Fire team. So that was fun. But his team is full of threats. He has Mega Gardevoir, Zygarde 50%, Serp, Azu, Tarak, Necrozma, Metagross, and Salazzle. Zyg and Tarak are his Z users, which is pretty scary. So I did some scouting beforehand, and the main trend that I saw was that he brought SD Tarak in like every single game, or like SD Double Dance, something like that. Like, I'm pretty sure in all of his pool games he brought Swords Dance Terrakion, which I found very interesting. His team's pretty fast, has a lot of hard hitters. Mega Guard isn't something that I really want to deal with too well since I have more of a semi-style approach, but fortunately I do have Mew, which can sponge a hit from it. Zygarde is scary because I don't have a ground resist. Well, 1,000 arrows resist because my grass type is Amoonguss, and I have Skarmory, which is going to be taking advantage of that. Serperior is annoying, but I do have a lot of checks to it. Same with the Azumarill. Terrakion's a big threat that I had to account for in my building. And then Necrozma was another annoying thing. I knew he knows I have Hydreigon on my roster, so I can't imagine he'd bring like some sort of mono psychic set, which is good. And I did have ways to build around it, in which you'll see. Metagross could be annoying, but I do have Skarmory, I do have Mew, which can check it. And then Salazzle's a mon that is actually a big threat because its dual stab plus HP grass really breaks apart my core if I let things get weakened. So those were all things I had to consider. And if you don't remember what my team is, I have Mega Gallade, Amoonguss, Gastrodon, Mew, Skarmory, Clefable, Hydreigon, and Volcarona, which I didn't bring those last two. So the team of 6 that I brought, starting off with my Mega Gallade, which has a fantastic matchup in this game. I'm running a Bulk Up Encore 2-attack set with P-Jab and Drain Punch with 176 HP, 148 attack, and 184 speed Jolly. So the speed's going to let me outrun, let's see, what am I outrunning? I am outrunning Max Speed Mega Guard, I believe, and oh no, well, I'm speed creeping Terrakion that would be speed creeping on my base 100s. Just trying to be aggressive, get a little more bulk. The bulk investment on this thing, I believe, allows me to take Continental Crush or an all-out pummeling after Stealth Rocks if he goes for, if he's unboosted with his Terrakion. So say he goes for a Rock Polish, I can bring Gallade in, take a round of hit of rocks, and then take one of those Z moves and then just knock it out with Drain Punch. Encore is really important so that I can prevent the Necrozma from setting up, and with Bulk Up plus Encore I can turn it into setup fodder because I can start bulking up after I Encore it, get some boost up, and then this thing becomes very hard to kill. He does have 2 mons that can outspeed and revenge me in Serperior and the Salazzle, so I'm going to have to look out for that, but this thing is really solid against this team, puts in a lot of offensive pressure. Next, I've got my Amoonguss. This is a just kind of overall check to a bunch of stuff on his team. I'm running Payapa Berry with Regenerator, Foul Play, Sludge Bomb, Toxic, Giga Drain. This was a check to Mega Guard since I'm running very Spadef and then the Payapa Berry, so I can take any 2 hits from that thing. This is also decent since I have Foul Play to take one from the Metagross and hit it really hard, or get on the switch in with a Foul Play, and I believe I can 2-hit KO it or get very close to it. Toxic's just a nice thing to throw around on things if he wants to switch into Zygarde or something like that, then wearing that down is important. And overall, this is just a good pivot for the team so that I don't get run over by like Hyper Voice spam and that sort of thing. Next, I have a Rocky Helmet Gastrodon. Now, I really should have ran leftovers in this because you'll see in the game why, but Rocky Helmet's there so I can get chip damage off on the Terrakion. And I'm running Sticky Hold as my item because he does not have a water type, or no, he has, was that a mistake? Should I have? That may have been a mistake. I probably should have ran Storm Drain so he couldn't waterfall me with the Azumarill. But this is a way to get chip off on the Azu, on the Metagross, on the whatchamacallit, the Terrakion if he's not setting up, and overall it's just kind of a good check to everything. It takes 2 Banded Thousand Arrows from Zygarde, though it gets a little hairy if I have to switch in because it's doing right around 50% every time. But I'm running 3 attacks because it hit this team pretty hard, and then recover to stay healthy. Next, we have a Mew. This is my Mega Guard check. Running lefties, very specially defensive. Gunk Shot, Taunt Zen, Headbutt, Roost. Enough Spadef, so I take 2 Hyper Voices from Mega Guard after Rocks. And Gunk Shot is there to do a ton of damage to Mega Guard, Azu, and Superior. I have Zen Headbutt as Stab just for some general coverage, so stuff like Terrakion didn't hardwall me, and like Salazzle and those boys. So this is really important to keep the guard in check. And I have 20 speed just in case he is running like a min speed fat guard. Then we have Skarmory, just running Fizzdef. I have Red Card this time so that nothing can set up directly in my face. If his Terrakion's getting way too set up, I can just force him out with Red Card, which is nice. Then I have Double Hazards, Roost, Whirlwind. He doesn't have removal on his team, so getting up Hazards against him would be very nice. It lets Gallade do a lot more work and just kind of put more pressure on him with my Fat, because I'm running definitely more of a balanced semi-stall approach in this game. And lastly, we have another Zygarde check and just an overall check to his setup sweepers. I'm running Fizzdef, Unaware Clef, T-Wave, Moonblast, Knockoff, Moonlight, full Fizzdef. Knockoff's really important so that I can get rid of items. Getting rid of like Zygarde's Choice Band means that he can't get close to 2-hit KOing me and my Clef or Gastro with arrows, and just getting rid of stuff like, say, Banded Azu's Choice Band and that sort of thing seemed pretty important, and there was nothing else that I really needed. I could have maybe ran like Rocks and coverage. Rocks on this and then a coverage move on Skarm, but I felt this was going to be the best way. So let's hop into it. And as you can see, he brought Azu, Serp, Mega Guard, Zygarde, double guard core, like it, Salazzle and Terrak, and he left Necrozma and Metagross at home. And he did tell me before this game started that he was bringing memes, so I wasn't sure what to think of that. Pretty much everything Bronson does is a meme already. He brings some pretty wild stuff, but it definitely was scary. Zygarde is a huge threat to this team, Mega Guard is a big threat, and Terrak and Salazzle all really big threats, especially to the team I brought. So I definitely have to rely on the likes of Mew, Clef, well, just all of my bulk in tandem to take on his team, because I really couldn't hyper offense through him in this game because he had too many good checks to my Volcarona and my Hydreigon. So let's get into it. He's going to lead Azu as I'm going to lead Skarm. I want to get my hazards up right away. I'm just going to go for Rocks as he's going to go for the Whirlpool right away. So there's meme number 1, Whirlpool Azumarill, as I'm going to be able to get those rocks up, which is nice as it gets him into guard, which isn't the worst thing in the world. Superior would have been the best option. Salazzle or Zyg probably would have been the worst. But guard is here. I have my switch in being Mew, and I'm just going to go hard into it. I don't want my Skarm to take a T-Bolt because I do die if he's very offensive. And he's going to go right for the Calm Mind, which is very scary. But I do know I can take 1 hit and fire off a Gunk Shot, and it shows that I outspeed him. I'm going to be able to go for the Gunk Shot, do 82% as he's going to fire off a Hyper Voice, and this is pretty nice because I know now I can just go for the Zen Headbutt, knock him out, and then I should be able to recover potentially on the Azumarill or even Superior potentially, though it may just be that I have to sack Mew after this. So I'm going to go for Zen Headbutt, but it turns out this is a speed tie because he's also running 20 speed guard, and he's going to take me out, so I lose my Mew, which is a little unfortunate. It was a really good check to a lot of his team, but I do now get the opportunity to bring in Gallade and take this thing out. I just go for the P-Jab, best coverage for his team. Now he's going to go into Serp. Now I don't want to get glared, I don't want to get toxic or just hit with a hard Leaf Storm because I want my Gallade healthy, because I need it healthy to check the Salazzle, because even though I can't hit it super effectively, I can hit it still really hard with a Drain Punch and potentially avoid a 2-hit KO with the Drain Punch recovery. So I'm going to go into my Amoonguss, which is a very good stop to this. He does go for the Glare, which is annoying. I get paralyzed as he goes for the Mirror Coat here, and I did go for the Sludge, so that was kind of a blessing in disguise, as now what I'm going to do is click Toxic, as he does his only immunity is the Salazzle. He goes for the Wrap as he misses, so definitely an interesting series of events. He is Wrap, Mirror Coat, Glare, Superior, so that means that my Mungus should be able to wall this thing pretty hard, as he's going to go into Zygarde as I pull the switch myself into Skarmory, trying to take advantage of this Serp and get some more hazard dub. He's just going to go for the 1,000 arrows, as I believe I'm going to lay up a Spike right here. I don't super need Skarm for anything in the matchup, but getting up the layers are nice, and if he was a setup variant, I could have Whirlwinded him out afterwards, but he is definitely Choice Banded, and it does 43, and this is where having lefties would have been nice, because 1,000 arrows is doing a little bit too much, to the point where I really can't out-recover his 1,000 arrows with my own recover. If I had lefties, then I would be able to incrementally get more health back, but basically all we're doing here is me spamming recover. He's getting rolls between 51% and like 43%, and all he's doing is fishing for the crit to take me out, but I can't really do that. I know I'm trapped in this cycle, so I have to go into my Skarmory and sack it off. Nothing else wants to take this hit, and I need everything else. And Skarm did its job, which was getting up the hazards. So now I'm going to go into Clef and click Knockoff, hoping that he just goes for the 1,000 arrows right here, because if he did, then my Gastrodon would forever wall this thing. But he does go into the Azumarill, and we're going to be able to knock off its leftovers, which is good. Now I don't want my Clef getting trapped, because I need it for the Tarak and the Zygarde, so my most expendable mon at this point is Gallade, and I did see this as an opportunity to set up potentially. I'm going to Encore him into Whirlpool. Now unfortunately Whirlpool is just doing a little too much tip damage with the 8 from the original hit and then another 12, so I'm forced to attack it right here, and we're going to go for P-Jab. Doesn't knock him out, but we do get the poison, and he's going to go down to that. So if I was running a little more attack, I could have taken him out, but I really needed the bulk on this thing. Now Salazzle's going to come in, and unless he has to be a... If he's not a boosting item, he has to get a very high roll with a Fire Blast to knock me out. But if he has a boosting item like Life Orb, Specs, or a Plate, then he can take me out. So I'm not really sure what the damage is going to say here. He does knock me out, so we know for sure that he either got a high roll or he's a choice, or a boosting item of some sort. But I basically have to bank on him fearing my Rindo Berry if he's not choiced, or him being choiced and switching out with Gastrodon, so that I can get this thing healthy again. So I'm going to recover up, as he is going to go hard for the Swords Dance, which is scary. I figured he'd make a play along these lines. I'm going to Earth Power, and basically what I'm going to do here is go into Clef, seeing if he's going to go for an all-out pummeling. He goes for the close combat, and now what I'm going to do is switch into my Mungus, trying to bait out the Continental Crush or the Corkscrew Crash or anything he has to hit this thing, but it just goes right for the Stone Edge, showing that he's either he predicted me or he is not a Z move. So it really all depends right here. If he is the Z move and he predicted me right there, then I lose, but if he's not, then I can take this thing out, and I should be able to take the game with Gastro plus Clef, unless he haxes me. And he shows that he is not a Z move. He's going to fire off the Stone Edge. It doesn't do a ton, and Clef is going to be at 50%, right out of range of a Zygarde's 1,000 arrow, which is pretty cool. And now he's going to drop into the Superior right here. Now this is my opportunity to heal up. I should be able to stall this thing out, since it looks like he has Glare, Wrap, and Mirror Coat, so it doesn't look like he has anything that can hit me aside from Leaf Storm. So I'm going to go for the Recovery, but he's Taunt, and he does not have an attacking move on this thing, meaning that Gastrodon walls this Superior. So he's going to go ahead, fire off the Wrap. He's going to do 2% and then take some nice Rocky Helmet damage. He traps me in, which is a little annoying, but this Gastrodon should be decent, since he can't really do anything to me. He glares me here, so I'm now paralyzed, meaning that I can lose if I get full parry against the Zygarde, which is a little annoying, but what I'm going to do here, he's going to taunt me, as I figured, well, I just tried to go for the last ditch recovery so I could be as high health as possible in case he did not go for the taunt. Now he's going to go into Salazzle right here, and I need this thing not to get parried, and if he was HP Grass, then it turns out he was Specs, and he goes for the Fire Blast and he misses, as we're going to knock him out with the Earth Power. Now if I got parried right there, then I would have been in a really bad spot, because if he got enough damage off on, if he was able to get a string of paras and then take out my Gastrodon, then he could just win with his Salazzle. I feel like his better play would have been to go immediately into Zygarde before Salazzle, because he could more easily pressure this thing, and if he was able to get the string of paras that he needed, then he could sweep, or then he could take out my Clef with a Poison move with Salazzle. So the Zygarde's going to come in. Basically all I need is to not get full parried so I can get this Ice Beam damage off and make sure he dies to a Moonblast. I am able to do that, avoid the para, avoid the hacks, and this just means that unless he crits me, which spoilers he will not, on my Clef, then I am guaranteed the win right here. So Clef is guaranteed out of range of a banded 1,000 arrows, does 47, and I'm able to fire off a Moonblast and take this thing out and take the win against Bronson. So this was a very close one, a very pretty spooky game, honestly. I definitely should have brought Lefty's Gastrodon. That would have helped me a lot better taking on the Zygarde 1v1. And Bronson just brought a really weird team. The 50-50, or the speed tie loss early on with Mew really hurt me, because having Mew would have been nice for his team, since just being able to taunt everything would have been useful and stuff. But we're going to take the win and move on to the round of 34, and our next opponent will be Techno, coach of the Carolina Pantherians, so make sure to look forward to that. Hope you enjoyed this. If you did, drop a like, leave a comment, tell me what you thought, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.